Hello, viewers, and a very warm welcome. You're watching India Fights Back with your host, Kriti Mishra. As we record this show, over 1.55 crore people have registered themselves on COVID portal for the third phase of COVID-19 vaccination starting May 1st. In the third phase of vaccination, everyone above the age of 18 will be eligible to get vaccinated against COVID-19. The government has said that the CoWIN software is a robust, dependable, and agile technology, and it offers anytime, anywhere registration for COVID-19 vaccination. The capacity of the servers and other parameters have been ramped up to match the unprecedented scale of immunization so that the CoWIN system provides citizen-centric services. Inclusivity, speed, and scalability have been kept in mind while designing the unique digital platform, with all components being portable, synchronous, without excessive and unnecessary dependencies. And to analyze the challenges and preparations made for this massive exercise, I'm joined by Mr. Abhishek Singh, CEO, MyGov, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India, and Dr. Dhruv Chaudhary, State Nodal Officer for COVID-19 pandemic for the state of Haryana. Welcome to Rajya Sabha Television, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
Mr. Singh, coming to you first. India led the vaccination drive with technological interface till now, and of course, now we are entering this largest phase we've seen so far. How prepared are we?
See, this vaccination is one of the largest vaccination drive that India has taken or the world has taken anywhere. Because as against any other vaccination that has been done, this is to be done for the entire population. And number two, there are two doses to be given. So you have to ensure that all those who are eligible in a particular phase of vaccination are able to get it, and then you are able to track them that whether they have completed completed the two doses and whether they have got the second dose at the right interval of the same vaccine that they had taken the first dose. And given that there is limitations on production of vaccination, we have to stagger the vaccination in such a way that those who need the most get it first, and accordingly it go on. So that's how we had started the vaccination drive with 60 plus getting it first. Then later on, it was opened up for 45 plus in April. And now the government has decided that for the 1st of May, those who are in the age group of 18 to 44, 45 will also be eligible. So the India's population in this age bracket is huge. So we were anticipating, and they are the youth who want to get vaccinated. It has been proved globally that vaccines are the only way to protect ourselves against COVID-19. So there's a huge demand for the vaccine. There's huge enthusiasm amongst the youth who are doing, and the youth are tech savvy. And the government has also said that 18 to 45, there will be no walk-in appointments. Everybody has to register on the CoWIN portal. So we were anticipating a huge rush of people, and that's what happened when the vaccination opened at 4 o'clock yesterday. Within no time, we had millions of hits on our portal, almost 2.7 million per minute. We were getting API hits, which is more than what any technological system has ever seen. And by end of the night yesterday, we could get 1.35 crore vaccinations. Today also, in today's, almost 51 lakh people have registered on the CoWIN portal. So the portal has been designed in a very scalable, easy to use manner. People can register with just a mobile number and an ID card. And to take care of those people who might not be tech savvy, who might not have their own phone numbers, one person can register up to 4 people. And then it allows you to register to get the second vaccine anywhere. Like suppose you get the first vaccine in Delhi, and because of any other reason, after 4 to 6 weeks, if you're traveling to some other place, your hometown or something, you can get the second vaccine, the second dose there also. So it's very flexible. It's very easy to use. The UI UX is very comfortable. It has been offered on the Arogya Setu app also. It has been offered on the Umang app also. It has been integrated with maps so that you can find out vaccination centers. So the overall philosophy is to make registration for vaccination simple, easy, and scalable. That's what has been done.
All right, of course, the government has been focusing on inclusivity, speed, and of course, scalability. But Dr. Chaudhary, India has undertaken this vaccination drive, which is on a scale of billions of people, making it the most complex factor of all. What are the challenges that lie ahead?
You see, as Abhishek has said it, the first most important is to cover as much population as possible, because it's very wrong on our part to compare UK or countries of the Europe, because each state is as big as any country there. I think we need to stagger it out. That is very important. That part we must take in account. So I think it's an unfair comparison one. Now, when you are doing it, we need to see to it when As he has very rightly said, scalability, because everything we are now going with the technology. For me, the biggest challenge will be not the enrollment. The biggest challenge will be to ensure adequate flow of the vaccine. That is the key, because the supply chains have to be maintained. We need to also ensure that the production is maintained. And probably now we may have to also look in terms of new platforms which are coming up. And I am of this opinion that whatever the critics may say, I think those who can pay should pay for it, because there is nothing which is going to be free. There has to be an option which has to be there. And the medical fraternity should be itself very clear what to recommend, when to recommend, and they should also act as a carrier and the vehicle for the change. I think these are the issues which are there. Simply criticizing the government or the administration is not easy. It's a gigantic task. So all of us have to come together, pool our resources, and we need to help. And in terms first production, then maintenance of supply chains, and then taking vaccines, and along with it, very faithfully reporting adverse events to the portal. I think that is as important. And therefore, it's possible also, because sometimes we may have a difficulty in terms of having different vaccines. So suppose if we, because all, as the Mr. Abhishek has said very clearly, 2 shots have to be given. So if there is no availability, probably now as a medical professional, as a researcher, as a public health people, I may even have to consideration or think in terms of combining 2 together, so that we take the maximum advantage, and so that this can be probably the epidemic can be put under control.
Absolutely. And as you're saying that it is a mammoth task, it's a gigantic task. And there were reports that I was reading today that a traffic of 55,000 hits per second on CoWIN portal. Mr. Singh, how will you ensure that CoWIN app is able to sustain the coming traffic?
That has what has been the focus of it. As I mentioned, like the 2.7 million does translate into 55,000 per second. And this is like, this is more than anything. It's more than any other systems that we run this kind of traffic. So what we have done is that we have used a very scalable infrastructure. We have to use cloud-based technologies, and we have used APIs to connect with various systems. There are different modules. So like when you are registering on it, that's a different module. The vaccination module is different. So the vaccinator, the actual vaccination that's going on at the vaccination facility, where when the nurse or the doctor gives you the vaccine, then he updates on the system. So that system is not impacted with how many people are coming in. So even if there is some delays, so there might be some delays in getting an SMS, but that would not impact the actual vaccination. So the vaccination module, the registration module, the appointment scheduling module, the logistics module with regard to how many vials should be sent to which location, all these modules have been made in such a way that they work independently of each other, and they connect it through what we call as APIs in the technical language, and ensure that the whole system also works. So the architecture of the CoWIN platform has been done in such a way that it is able to meet the load, it is able to meet the requirements. The task which is given to the vaccinator, that also has made it very simple. So we don't want the vaccinator, the nurse who is doing it, who is overwhelmed with a lot of people waiting at the vaccination site, to be able to require to do too many technical inputs, data entries. So that has also been made minimal, that is required. For 45 plus, we had kept a provision of walk-in vaccinations also. So therein, of course, the name and the identity number will have to be entered. But for 18 to 45, we have made online mandatory, because we feel that this is a group of people who can do that. And in case there is somebody who is not IT literate or who doesn't have the means to do that, for that, he can get somebody's help to get registered. So all these things have been factored in order to make it very scalable, very secure. The SMS gateways have been enhanced, because even 2.78 crore SMSs, it takes time to deliver that. The pipelines get stuck very often with telcos. But all that was planned in such a manner that the user experience becomes very easy and very comfortable.
Absolutely. And since we're talking about the phase 3 vaccination drive, Dr. Chaudhary, what is going to be so different about phase 3? As we're in the middle of this new wave, this time we are seeing that the new phase of vaccination drive coincides with the surge in the COVID-19 cases like never before.
You see, when we started, we had 2 things. One is a very significant vaccination hesitancy. That was very much there. And secondly, there was a skepticism about the success of it. Now, with an experience of last 2 to 3 months, we have realized, and with this wave coming up, the hesitancy which was there has suddenly gone. It has evaporated. Now, the question about that people putting doubt about uh, having COVID or other things not being there, I think that has gone away. Now people are seeing the real face of the disease. So for me, the important issue will be that with this vaccine hesitancy going up, and that I think itself is the proof that the moment you have opened up nearly 1.25 crore, 1.5 crore people have got registered. I think that's a very significant jump, one. Secondly, it also puts a pressure on us to ensure that adverse event profiling which happens, that is taken care of. A third thing which I need to see again, and I want your media to use it. Yesterday, even till now, people are asking, especially the young girls, can it cause infertility? I think it's nonsense. It's crap. They should realize it. Now, the sort of myths which are there, and the men asking about can they take alcohol, I think it amazes me that health, the way we are relating with it, people should realize it. The only shortest possible way, short of lockdowns, to reduce the spread is vaccination. And we must go for it, and we must accept it. And system is ready, system is willing. And now we know, we have an experience now, at least with the Covishield and Covaxin. And with that has given us a lot of ground now, with Sputnik coming up and others also probably lining it up. Because now it's along with the health, let me be honest and blunt about it, it's an economic enterprise now. So people will be coming up. We will have platforms. And as a medical fraternity, my assurance to people will please go for it. And the two group of people probably we will be needing to look into also is the pregnant females and lactational females. Now with the Moderna and Pfizer have told very clearly that it is safe. And few of the data of the Covishield which has come up is also saying it's safe. But nevertheless, Covaxin, I personally feel, because it's a killed vaccine, later stage of a third trimester and all, probably we need to do it because trials have not been done. Lactational, similarly female, because it's a very vulnerable group. And this is a group also we are seeing in the service sector. Like we have a lot of young doctors and staff nurses working out. So the point I'm saying it is across the board, in the working women in particular, this part we also need to take in account and talk about. But I am sure that with the coming time, the way we have seen these messenger RNA vaccines, the killed vaccines have been used in the past. So probably will be cost effective and can upscale them to these group of patients also, people also.
We need a separate session for dispelling all these myths around the vaccines. But talking about another important feature, Mr. Singh, I was also reading about this facility of recording real-time vaccination event, which is called Immutable Vaccination Event Record, and details of it can be found on the dashboard of CoWIN application. Tell us more about this feature.
See, one very important thing is that to capture the right person with regard to what vaccine has been given, because human errors can happen, because sometimes when so many people are going, mistakes can happen. So a raw person may get vaccine, cannot get vaccinated, his identity may be wrong. Some people may go and get two vaccines together. So what we had done was that we had initially thought that in order to uniquely identify a person who is getting the vaccine, we will be able to kind of do it with the help of Aadhaar number and ensure that either we authenticate his Aadhaar with an OTP that can be sent to his mobile number so that he is authenticated with Aadhaar, or the other option, because many people have not linked their Aadhaar numbers to the mobile numbers they carry, and so that if they are not able to get the OTP, the other way in which we could verify them, for which we have tested a technology, is the face authentication. What face authentication does is that when you go to the vaccination site, it will take your image on the phone and then it will compare it with the picture that is there on your Aadhaar card or any other ID card. And when the picture matches, it will say, yes, this is the same person. So that way, and it's a very simple software. It has worked for, we tried it out when the CBSE results were declared this year, when students from abroad who were not here because of the pandemic, they wanted to download their mark sheets and their certificates on the DigiLocker. So how do we authenticate them? Because they are not able to get the SMS for authenticating with Aadhaar. So we allowed for face authentication, in which the image was taken by the software and was compared with the photograph on the admit card, and they were validated and they could download the admit card. So what we did was that for vaccination also, a pilot was taken up in the state of Jharkhand, in which a lot of beneficiaries who were getting vaccinated were authenticated with the help of face authentication mapped with the photograph on their Aadhaar card. And it worked very well. More than 99.5% times it was matching. So the idea was that it can be used at the national level also, But there was some reservation from the medical fraternity with regard to trying out something more than just doing a data entry on a computer. So it has not been rolled out nationally, but given the number of cases we are getting in which some records are not being properly verified at the vaccination sites, maybe this will be an idea that can be experimented in the next round of vaccination.
All right, let me take that to Dr. Chaudhary. Dr. Chaudhary, what is your take on facial recognition?
I think ultimately we need to be clear about is that we need to be certain that a person has got two vaccines. Because if you're taking one vaccine, then this is not a complete process. I think this is the way the technology is moving. Practically, you go for biometrics. It's practically a biometrics, if you really ask me, facial recognition, which is there. So it is far more authenticated than actually entering the numbers. Because we are seeing somebody has got vaccine has been put as a Covishield. Somebody had a Covishield. Yesterday, I had a call from Mumbai. He said, I first got Covishield, second shot I got by default because of this Covaxin. What to do? I simply said, chill, relax. Probably you will give us an idea by this mistake. Can we combine two things or together or not? So we'll follow it up. The point I'm simply trying to make is what Abhishek said is very important. Technology is as good as their minimal the interface, the better it is. If you have to punch it out, if you punch one wrong number, things they go wrong. I think it's a great advance. I'm all for it.
But Mr. Singh, how do you allay the concerns around the data security with facial recognition?
See, data security is once the government is doing it, the entire thing, the matching is happening. So nobody is storing this image. What happens is that just the image is taken and then a tick mark is given. It's just like you open, like a lot many people these days use iPhones and smartphones which has got face off. So we are happy to do that, and the phone opens looking at your face. So this system also works in the same manner. It is just comparing your picture, and it does a live picture. Like it's not that somebody can authenticate you with your photograph and compare it with the still photograph. What it does is it captures your eye blinking. It captures a live image. So it's not that just a photograph will be matching. So data security is 100% ensured. Data is not stored in doing this. Only a hash is taken of the image and compared with the image which is there on the record of the Aadhaar or the PAN card or the driving license. So that way, there are no issues with regard to data security. And of course, once we will roll out, we'll state upfront what are the terms of use, what is the privacy policy, what is the purpose for doing this, and a statement saying that this feature will be used only for authenticating people for the purposes of vaccination and for nothing else. So when the government says that, it does that. And even for Aadhaar, there are a lot of people who raise issues about privacy and issues about data and data security. But I can tell you in the last 11 years, now it's 11 years that Aadhaar has existed, there has been not a single breach of Aadhaar database in any manner. There has not been a single person who has lost anything because of his Aadhaar number being data being taken by somebody else. It has not happened. There have been data breaches on other systems. We keep on hearing about data breaches on Citibank's database, on MobiKwik's database, and other systems that are there. But it has not happened. Aadhaar is a secure system, and the face auth that whenever it will be introduced, it will be a very secure system, and people should not have any inhibitions or any doubts about such a system.
So the system is absolutely robust, and there is no breach of security. That is what you're saying, and of course,
Right.
You see, Kriti, end of the day, whatever the system you
Yes,
use,
Dr.
the
Chaudhary.
people who are managing it, the responsibility lies on to them. If we say that every system is secure, foolproof, probably 99.9%. But nevertheless, the governments, I know people are scared, they may spy on you, they do it, other things. The question is for the national security, if they have to, they have enough powers to do otherwise also. For the routine methods, being myself being a part of the government, he being part of the government, we all know it. We don't get into it. No officer and nobody will put it unless it is authenticated from the appropriate sources with its pluses and minuses, its checks and balances. So I think one should be reassured. End of the day, when you are in the cyberspace, as he has said it, everything is is there on your iPhones or your other Androids. So I think it's over now, exaggerated now probably.
And in fact, when you do things in a digital domain, it becomes more secure because what we should always compare. Of course, digital technologies also can have insecurities if you don't follow the right cybersecurity practices. But we have to also compare it with the manual system. So very often the manual systems are worse than what it is now. So if this is incrementally better And if it leads to convenience to the citizens, then we should go for it.
Absolutely. All right, let me touch upon another important feature of phase 3 of vaccination drive. Mr. Singh, private hospitals and establishments will be allowed to procure vaccine doses from manufacturers exclusively from the 50% supply earmark for doses other than the ones for the government. Now, what kind of deliberations did you have with the private entities?
See, what we have done is that we have designed the CoWIN platform in such a way that private vaccination centers or state government vaccination centers where the 18 to 45 age group people will be eligible for vaccination, they can easily schedule their sessions. And when people are going to book their appointment, they will be able to see those locations. And when they go there, they will be able to see a private facility or a state government facility who is offering the vaccination. They will be able to see what vaccine they are offering. They will be able to see what cost the vaccination is being offered. They will be able to see which is the earliest date on which they can offer. So it has been done in an open API based system in which private systems, private health service providers and vaccinators can integrate their systems with the CoWIN system. There can be hospitals or there can be private entrepreneurs who can offer home vaccination also. So there are a large number of people who are, for various reasons, for medical reasons, other reasons, are not able to go to a vaccination center. So the private entrepreneur will be able to do that. They will be able to provide vaccination in office buildings. They will be able to provide vaccinations in RWAs, in apartment complexes. And whenever they are doing that, their systems will easily be integrated into the CoWIN system. So that is the way we have architected. And we have taken feedback from the private sector providers also. And they are also very keen to build that. There are some people who are trying to build up an interface on WhatsApp that will allow people to register on WhatsApp messaging also. They will get the entire information on that. So in the next few days, of course, the biggest challenge is that the private vaccinators and the state government vaccination centers have to have their contracts in place. They have to get the vaccines in place. That is why people are not seeing the appointments right now. But till they have the centers are operational, till they have the vaccines, even though people are registered, they will not be able to get vaccinated and the sessions they will not be able to see. So that's the bigger challenge that the private vaccination centers and the state government have to finalize their contracts and their agreements, their supply orders, their delivery schedules with the Bharat Biotech and the Serum Institute. So that's the challenge that they have.
Absolutely. A very important point that you made, Mr. Singh. Dr. Chaudhary, the concerns are around the contracts, whether the state governments or even the private players, whether they have it in place or not. Dr. Chaudhary? All right, there seems to be some technical glitch there. Mr. Singh, coming back to you. As we end this conversation, the challenges, the opportunities, and of course, the preparations, how do you sum it up for phase 3?
See, the technology platform has been built. It is allowing people to register. And 18 to 45 people, we are seeing a great enthusiasm. The whole vaccine hesitancy is not there. There is a desire for people to vaccinate. And if we look at yesterday, almost 13 million people registered. Today also it will be like that only. Our vaccine supplies right now are limited. So as we ramp up the productions, as we ramp up the availability of vaccines, I think we'll be able to vaccinate a larger percentage of Indian population, and that will ultimately help us beat the pandemic. Today, we are seeing cases rising all over, but the only way to beat it is to speed up the pace of vaccination. The technology platform exists. All that we need to do is to have more sources of vaccine. We have Serum Institute, we have Bharat Biotech, we have approved Sputnik, we have approved other vaccines also which have been approved in other countries. So hopefully by next month, by June or something, the supplies will go up and we will be able to do more than 10 million vaccinations per day. And then only by June, July, we should be able to have a control over this pandemic.
Absolutely. Let's all keep our fingers crossed for it. On that note, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So that's all we had for you in this edition of India Fights Back. But before that, let me remind you once again to stay safe from the coronavirus pandemic. Remember to wear a face mask and wash your hands and face regularly, and ensure that you maintain physical distancing whenever you're stepping outside. These simple precautions are all it takes to defeat the pandemic. Take good care and goodbye.